Hello guys, good evening. If you can hear me, please let me know. Good evening, everyone. My name is Eniola, and today we are going to be talking about decentralized communities, decentralized platforms, and decentralized storage. For the most of it, I'm going to be talking about decentralized communities and decentralized platforms first. What exactly are decentralized communities? Decentralized communities are a group or an organization of people who have the same and equal rights to propose, to suggest, to make decisions, in the community. And one of the examples of a decentralized community is a DAO, which is the short form for decentralized autonomous organization. What type of decentralized community is the ICO, which is the initial coin offering. We also have another type of a decentralized community, which is the initial DEX offering, basically. So first, let's take it from the DAO. So we mentioned that a DAO is a decentralized community, right? Okay, what exactly do they do? What is their aim? What is their objective? So when you're talking about a DAO, think about a company. But a company that does not have, that's not binded by regulations or laws or, subject to court orders. It doesn't have a board of directors or a particular chairman that you have to report to. If we are talking about a DAO, just think about a decentralized corporation or an autonomous corporation where everybody has a say in the decision making of the company. And one of the advantage of a decentralized community like a DAO is that there is everyone feels like a big part. Everyone feels like a big part of the community. They don't feel left out. So if there is a decision that is being made, give me a minute. I don't know if you can see my screen. I'm trying to zoom in, but I hope you can see the screen because I think I can really zoom. I hope you can see it now because this is literally the full screen. All right, so we were talking about DAOs, right? So I said one of the benefits of a DAO is that you have a fair share in the decision making of the DAO. That's number one. Number two is that there is nothing like, oh, this person made a particular decision and it doesn't sit well with me. Or this particular CEO has been trying to woo me and I did not, succumb to his request, and then he decides to, sack me or lay me off. It doesn't happen like that in a DAO. You know why? Because a DAO is literally governed by the smart contracts. It is literally governed by codes. How is this possible, you may think? This is possible through governance. Remember when we were talking about ERC20 tokens, ERC71 tokens, we also have governance tokens. We have governance codes. And a way to find out is, let's check the Open Zeppelin. Let's take the Open Zeppelin's documentation and check out the governance code briefly, just to have a glimpse of what, of what the DAO code looks like, right? Okay, so we are just going to go into the documentation and into the contract. So basically, you want to look at the contract code for the DAO. How does it work? Remember, we said it's governed by codes, right? And literally meaning that any voting that wants to take place has to be, code. That's the on-chain. That's to be, in the blockchain. Same thing as maybe you want to do crowdfunding, or so in this case, you are not really there is no issue of trust here because everything is on code. So if there is a way, maybe you want to get money from your company, and of course you don't want to put it in a particular person's wallet address, you guys can, it can be deposited into, the smart contract. And of course, the code is not literally the issue. Whenever a case of rug pulling happens, it's literally a case of the developer writing, a kind of code that is susceptible to attack. You understand? So basically, this is what a governance looks like, right? And when we're talking about a governance smart contract, it literally would need a token. Every DAO needs a governance token, right? Because it is only with the token that you can vote. You cannot vote without a token. So if you are joining a DAO, depends on whatever rule that they may have discussed, on how to, accept members into the community. Different DAOs may decide to, okay, I've agreed on a set of rules to accept people, or on how people can get their token and join their DAO, right? Some people can actually join a DAO without having a DAO's token. But for you to be an active contributor or a member of the DAO, you need to have a token. For you to have a say in the DAO, you need to have a governance token. You understand? So basically, yeah, we talked about a DAO needs to have a governance token to vote. And now this is how voting happens, right? You do not just have a say because you have a token. The whole team or the whole community must have agreed that, okay, we want only 50% or only 60% of people to be able to vote for us to reach a consensus. So if we are voting that, okay, what exactly are we eating tonight in our DAO? And then, we have 50% of people or 60% of people vote that, okay, we are going to eat chicken, and maybe the other 40% vote that we want to eat bread. And that means that the majority carries the votes in a DAO. Right? So literally, that's like, those are one of the benefits, out of the numerous benefits of a DAO. And you may think, okay, yeah, I already showed you the code, right? This is it. You can mint your token, you can burn your token to, probably reduce the supply of your token, of course, because you don't want it to be always available to everybody. So you can decide to probably burn it to reduce the supply of the token. And pretty much that's it. So there is a platform. Sorry about the telephone. I'm so sorry. So there is a platform where that can help you create a DAO. Say you do not want to create the code from scratch, right? So there is a platform called DAO Stack. Okay, so you can literally, if you have a DAO in mind, aka a component in mind, a decentralized component in mind that you want to create, and you want, of course, general, you want a contribution from the community, and you want to make it open. One of the downsides of a DAO is that there are no secrets. You cannot say you want to create, in a company now, right? Companies hide their, maybe, the key ingredients that makes them unique. Take Coca-Cola, for example. Now, they cannot come outside now and say they want to become a DAO. That means everybody will know, the whole secrets of their, resource, of the drink that they are producing, of their products, and everybody can create it. So it doesn't really make it, there is no privacy, sort of. I would not even say there is no privacy, because privacy and secrecy are actually two different things. So there are no secrets in a DAO. Take, for example, we are coming back to DAO Stack, but let's check Olympus DAO. One of the types of DAO is Olympus DAO's GitHub, right? It has had about 700 and something forks on its repository, meaning that there have been like hundreds of other kinds of DAOs that are doing something similar to what Olympus DAO is doing. So this is what it means that there are no secrets in the DAO. Okay, so let's go back to DAO Stack. Okay, so let's try and do a hands-on on creating a DAO, right? Network. Okay, so another kind of DAO, there are literally a thousand amount of DAOs. We have friends with benefits kind of DAO. We have the LAO DAO, LAO. We have the Gitcoin DAO. They all have different functions, and they are literally different types of DAO. We have the DAOs that are focused on decentralized finance. We have DAOs that are focused on grants. We have DAOs that are focused on social activities. So literally, there are different types of DAO, and I mentioned them in a particular video, in a recorded video. You can check them on Zuri Team's YouTube channel. It's titled DAO, or How to Create a DAO. So you should find it in their catalog. I made a deeper view of types of DAO and how to create one. So in the video, I actually used Aragon platform, but in this case, let us check out DAO Stack. I'm not sure what's wrong with my network. I hope you guys can still hear me though, because it looks like my network is hanging right now. Okay, so I'm not sure why this is not working. It's not working. It's not working. It's not working. All right, it looks like it doesn't want us to create a DAO today, but let's try again. It's not working. Why? Or is it their server? Let me see. So let's try. Okay, it looks like their server is probably down because I cannot access their site. Well, let me check. Is it my network? It's not my network. I think the DAO Stack server is down at the moment. All right, so I think their server is down at the moment, but of course you can, play around it and launch your own DAO. You get, and if you want, deeper introduction or explanation on it, there is a video on Zuri Team's YouTube channel. You can learn more about DAOs. So DAOs by the side. Another decentralized community that I mentioned earlier is the initial coin offering. Sometimes you want to launch a product and then you probably maybe need some funds before launching it, or you need some amount of support before making it live. Yeah, this is what the initial offerings do, literally. So we have like different types of initial offerings. We have initial coin offering. This helps you to launch a particular cryptocurrency or just. We have the initial DEX offering. This helps you to launch your decentralized exchange. We have the initial public offering. We have the initial public offering, and so there are literally a number of them. And Mayowa would help us shed more light on it. Mayowa, hi there.
Yeah, I mean, please, can everyone hear me now? Do you want to talk on it now?
Yes, please.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Going forward, now we have various kind of initial coin offering. Actually, we have ICOs, we have IDOs, we have IPOs. Now, one thing you all need to understand, and it can help you open coin market cap. One thing you all need to understand about initial offering, it's just like a normal company, because the thing is, we actually got to this DAO stage with the aim of crypto web 3.2 and decentralization. So now, if you have a coin on your own, or you want to raise money, let me use that word, you want to raise money. Now, it's just like the Bank of Industries that you know. It's just like the Tony Lumelu that you know. Do you understand? So now, these people actually uses this initial offering to raise money for their projects. Now, we have so many ways of doing it. In the early days of crypto, we have initial coin offering, that's ICO. Now, what this ICO simply does is, crypto is just starting actually. So most of these projects, they actually come out. Now, when they come out, you just see like, send Ethereum to this wallet. Now, don't get me wrong, don't forget it's actually all these blockchains, before we started having various kind of blockchain, the monolith and the other blockchain, they all developed from Ethereum being the platform. Now, they will now tell you, and they have to use Ethereum as a token. So they will tell you, send one Ethereum or 2 Ethereum to get this number of tokens. I think it was set up like 2020. Now, I think the last ICO that, if I could remember, was this particular protocol. I can't remember the name right now, that was done. You send in money. So they will actually, for example, maybe one US $10 will give you 200 of their tokens. Or let's say $10 will give you 200 of their tokens. So technically that means one would actually equivalent to like 20, that means $1 will give you 20. Now, after ICOs, we now went to IEOs. Now, the ICO thing is you send in money to them, they will send you tokens. They will tell you, okay, at this particular days, when we launch, we'll give you this token. Now, scams has been too much. Like, the scam is so really much because imagine you just come out and you are doing it out of your own view. Then when we started having centralized exchanges, then we now entered into initial exchange offering. So we left the stage of IEO and ICO, that's initial coin offering, by you sending an unknown person some amount of tokens to get their tokens. So whenever they launch, you can actually pump. So whenever the coin launches, you will sell and make some profit. Now, we now entered into IEO, initial exchange offering. Now, initial exchange offering started, let me use Binance as an example. Now, because people, before the era of all DEXs, before we started knowing about these DEXs, now people now want to be associated with a known exchange. That means Binance, KuCoin, and the rest of them. So up till now, Binance is still doing initial exchange offering. Now, you create a particular coin by creating your exchange token and name it Zuri token. Now it could be ZRI. Now you go to Binance and then you tell Binance that you want to launch your coin. Now Binance will tell you your rules and regulation. Binance will tell you your rules and regulation, and they will tell you, okay. Now Binance will tell you the rules and regulation. They will tell you do's and don'ts. Now, if you are able, because I think I was part of one thing like that did some stuff. Binance is very, very strict. If you list your project on Binance might list 4 projects in the year. I'm not trying to say it's not really possible. Now, that's for Binance. That's an initial exchange offering. So they still do it. They raise money, they launch token, and they bootstrap, do things for the community. Now, we left that era, we went to initial debt offering. That's initial decentralized offering. Now, initial decentralized offering is just like the normal DEX that you use. Now, you need to lock up your certain amount of token. She talked about DAO. Most of these DEXs are just DAOs. So, for you to be part of our company, now, understand something. For you to be part of Zuri board, you need to be having a mentor. Now, depending on the number of mentors you have, now is now determining the kind of things you'll be controlling under the Zuri team or in the Zuri board. So depending on the number of tokens you're using, then you can actually interact. See, one simple thing you need to understand in this initial DEXs is just like the amount of money you have gives you the voice. So if you have a large amount of money, then your voice will be louder. If you have a little, your voice will be louder. Now, initial DEX offering started, people are raising money, a new project will come and tell you, oh, we are going to launch. Please help me open CDFI. Now, CDFI fund is actually a kind of DAO, a kind of project that helps people raise their money. Now, BNB you're seeing today was auctioned, I think, 15 cents for their ICOs in 2017. Now, CDFI fund came out with airdrop mechanism, and you need to accumulate. You can open their website, I think it's there. You need to accumulate some amount of tokens for you to be able to participate in their initial DEX offering. Now, for example, you can lock up about $10,000 depending on the allocation and the tier you have. Now, once you join, they give you a certain number of tokens before that token actually launches. So now the token can be selling for the ideal price can actually go for like $0.5. And whenever the token launches, it can skyrocket to like $9. You've made profits. But the thing is, they'll be giving you allocation. You can see all these upcoming pools, the Nomad, Exile, first and second. Now, these people are projects that you actually stake. You own S-Fund. S-Fund is their key, is their DAO token that you can use to interact with them. Now, from this place, we now went to initial game offering. Now, initial game offering is just like the name of projects. So the name of all these projects that you're doing from initial game offering now, most of what you can see, these are the past IDOs done from private sales to public sales. So depending on the number of tokens you're holding, you can still check Blocktopia, Eniola from CoinMarketCap. Blocktopia, that's another project. I think the B, just go to Blocktopia, blocklaunchpad.com. I think block BLOK, blocklaunchpad.com. So now we now went to initial game offering. Now this initial game offering thing is more or less like you launching. Now you know that we're in the era of what's it called, gaming protocol. Most of all these projects are gaming protocol. Now we left initial game offering. We are now in initial metaverse offering or initial NFT offering, INOs. So now one thing you need to understand is you should understand that crypto is actually trend, and in this trend that we are following, the trend is always like I'm just trying to get the website, Block Launchpad. Okay, yeah, thank you. Now this is it. This is for the block token now. Now you need to understand something. This particular block token was auctioned in CDFI. S-Fund were the ones that raised money for this project. And it was auctioned at 0 point, I think 0 point, because if you actually create your own token and you want to enter the market and you don't have funds, now you can go through all these things to raise funds. Now, this is one thing you need to understand. This helps people to, if you are talking about this decentralization, you don't want to put your money in the hands of people you don't trust. So it's a way to actually get decentralized from being centralized, and it's a way to get centralized from being decentralized. Now, this project, this block was launched. I think the initial coin offering, the initial DEX offering was 0.00, I think 0.0002 something. Now, and this coin went to 0.11, I think all-time high. Now, this 0.11 divided by almost 0.002, I think this coin did about 550x up before it did. Now, these are the benefits you can be earning because this is actually a passive way of making money in crypto. Now, you can still be staking and still be enjoying some benefits aside from the fact that you're still participating in the IDOs. Now, when Block was launched, Block adopted the same mechanism. We have TrustPad. Now, we have various kind of blockchains. So we have various kind of IDO platform or protocols on different blockchains. We have Solana on Solana. We have quite a number of them like that. We have the ones on Avax, Ye Games. So these are the coin that they are coin. You actually have to lock up their coin to be able to participate in that protocol. So now, S-Fund now, I think they'll be doing initial NFT offering now. And one thing about them is, you always get allocation. So this way, it helps people to raise funds. It helps projects to be viable. And everything is under decentralized finance. So it's the DeFi in the huge landscape. So just like your own company, if you have a company and you want to raise money, you go to the bank. Bank will tell you, bring this, bring that, bring this, bring that. Now, bank will now tell you that, oh, okay, all the people that are having accounts with Zenith Bank, please come and buy this project. If you know you're having 50,000 naira upward, come and invest in this guy's vision. Now, once they invest in your vision, they will get allocation. By the time the coins start pumping, they will be getting it periodically so that they don't dump the ecosystem. It makes the whole thing stronger. So I think now we've evolved from ICO, initial coin offering, to initial exchange offering. Now we went to initial decentralized offering, that's IDOs. We are now in the era of, let's say IDOs is still existing, IEO is still existing, but I don't think we're having any ICO anymore. Now we are in, but people are still doing actually. Now we are in the era of initial NFT offering, INOs, initial metaversal offering, initial gaming offering. Now, why people often don't really do ICOs? Because, in fact, if I see most of the ICOs I see now, they are scams. You can't trace them. Why is it so difficult that in the crypto space, we don't compete with each other? We actually compete. That's competition. You work with the next person so that your projects can be viable. Just like what Blocktopia is doing, it's like a marketplace in the ecosystem. And a whole lot of projects are having metaversal office in Block. That's Blocktopia. So that's like their own initial metaverse offering. They've raised some amount of money. Now, I think the initial NFT offering, that will be the last one I'll be talking about before the continues, is what they are doing right now in the NFT space. Most of them will launch projects and make money via selling some eggs or some NFT projects just to go back to go and build the metaverse stuff we're talking about. That's why we are in the era of initial metaverse offering. So if you have a question, just keep your questions coming. Thank you very much. Enola, are you there?
Yes, I am. Wow, that was a lot. That was a lot. Thank you so much. Okay, so guys, if you have any questions, put it in the comment section and we'll answer it right after this class. All right, so as we begin to round up, I'm going to touch on a decentralized storage. So literally, when we have centralized storage system like Google Drive, like Dropbox, we are sometimes afraid that they might have access to our data. You get, and even though some of us don't really have any so important data like that, but then we are usually wary of the privacy of our data, and this is where decentralized storage system comes to play. And they literally consist of a peer-to-peer network, where data or files or pictures are stored in everybody's node, and everybody cannot access a node that is not theirs because it has been encrypted. It has been encrypted, so there is it's inside everybody's node in form of a hash, but then you cannot have access to it, except of course you have the person's private key. So this brings us to, okay, what are examples of decentralized storage systems? I'm sure some of you have heard of IPFS because it was somehow part of your task in the last few days. IPFS is interplanetary file system. It's a decentralized storage system where you can host your files or your pictures or your images. And this is one misconception a lot of people have about decentralized storage. Pictures are not really saved on chain because they are too large to be saved on chain. So the only way your file is saved, it is saved off chain, but then the hash and the link to the file is saved on chain. So, and one of the downside of this is that if somebody changes your file or your image off chain, you would not know because in your mind you already have access to your own, to the link to your own file. And I'm not sure how they are trying to fix that, but literally that's just one of the downsides. Another type of decentralized storage we have is Filecoin. Filecoin is not free, unlike IPFS. So you may want to check it out and play around it. Basically, that will be all about our class for today. If you have a question or questions, please go into the comment section. And even if you don't have any question, you might just want to greet us. That's allowed too. All right, guys, thank you so much for attending to this class. And let's take question. Mayora, please.
All right, thank you very much for that. I think we've actually answered some questions in here. Okay, I think I was talking about the coin that I think the ICO that was the last ICO I actually invested in that was just going crazy was MTU. Now somebody actually called out on the channel, on the chat. It was MTU. But the funny thing is this MTU actually did well for some peeps. Because when they were actually sending the coin out to people, I think some got it on time. And that stuff actually makes the product dumb. So now it's just like, please you can keep your questions coming. I've not seen any question yet. So okay. So it's just like you now saying you want to try to balance. Normally if you launch a coin and you invest in a coin, if you are not careful, people will come and buy that project and they will dump it, and your whole ecosystem will fumble and you crash. Then people now start raising money for you. So it's just like a way of you, because just like you working in the park of the elders, because there was this time that this S-Pump we're talking about has refused to pump. It was around $3. And I think it stayed there for like 2 months. But they onboarded few persons That week, I think S-Fund went to like $7 before it went to $15 all time high, came down again, like all these projects, this is how it actually works. Now, Eniola, I think somebody said, how to, okay, can you guys teach us how to build a DAO? Yeah, she was trying to do that, but I think the server is down.
Yeah, we already have a video on how to create a DAO, and
Okay.
it has not been uploaded yet, but they said it will be uploaded maybe within today or tomorrow. I'm not sure, but just watch out for the Zuri YouTube channel. It will be uploaded.
All right. Okay. I think that answers your question, Richard.
Yeah.
Now, okay. Jimo Afiz, what does it mean to mint an NFT? Actually, answer that question already. Now, to mint an NFT is more or less like if you want to get it for the first time. Now, it hasn't entered the secondary market yet because you only mint once. Once you're done minting, then you keep on exchanging it, you keep on sending from one wallet to the other. So we can actually liken minting to be like maybe you are launching a coin for the first time. So instead of you to say, oh, we are launching, okay, we will not tell you, come and mint. Come and mint. So you only mint from their website or from the website given to you to get the NFT. Once you've minted that particular product, then you keep on selling on secondary markets. Now, okay, somebody said, how decentralized is decentralization? If you have more of the governance token, you have the authority to an extent. So is there really decentralization? Anyway, you take that, or I should take
that. You can, but I also have something to say, so you might want to go first.
All right, okay. Now, how decentralized is decentralization? Okay, if you have more money in the governance token, you have authority. Now, see something here. These DAOs are actually decentralized autonomous organization. It's just like you saying a computer code running a company, which is what you are telling them to do. Now, it is the extent you have money. See, there's a way the system is actually balanced. Now, if you want to really go deeper in all of this, you can check, I think Uniswap version 3, there's a way they do their economics. You can read all the equations and everything just to balance the system. Now, it is really decentralized because some of these projects, even though you have the amount of tokens, okay, let me use S-Fund as an example now. Now, S-Fund, I think the highest tier is actually 100,000. So if you are holding 100,000 S-Fund, then you'll be going as a company. Now, you're not going as a private or as a private person. I think you'll be going as, what's it called? Is it partners now? Because normally, imagine you buying S-Fund at $10 and you're buying 100,000 S-Fund just to participate in allocation. That's about $1 million. Now, it is how you can fund the project. It is the extent of how you can actually, I don't know what you have that you can do. Now, this voting governance means, okay, let me use ENS as an example. Now, this voting is actually categorized in percentage. So if you like, have millions of their own, in as much as they have a particular token total supply and they have existing supply. So I think everything is balanced. ENS actually, when they launch, you can do your voting, you can delegate the voting to people. And I think they actually wanted to do another airdrop. And was it another airdrop, or they want to change the private keys to the public hands and people have to vote. So even though if you are not holding ENS, then you cannot vote. That's the meaning. You cannot vote if you are not having ENS. And if you have ENS, depending on the number of ENS you have, your one vote is still one vote. Do you understand? When you come to a certain stage, some certain amount of persons can say, okay, the nays have it, or the years have it. Can you just add something to it?
Okay, yeah, thank you for that. Okay, so how decentralized is decentralized? I feel like if you ask me, I mean, if I'm supposed to bet, I would say it's 100% decentralized, because what makes it decentralized exactly is the codes, the smart contracts. And what makes it non-decentralized is interaction with external connections, like maybe external clients. Take for example, interacting with Infura. If Infura is down or Alchemy is down, your service will be down. If you remember this issue with MetaMask one time like that, and everybody went on Twitter and started, shouting, everybody come out, though MetaMask is not decentralized, they have access to your data. But, the thing here is MetaMask in itself is decentralized. But of course, the clients they are using, the connection that they are using is a centralized service. So most of the time, when you're building a decentralized application, you would need to connect to a centralized service. And this is a question I always ask. Is there a possibility of creating a decentralized front end? I feel like if we can actually solve that, question, I feel like, a lot of things can actually be avoided and be solved. And of course, fraud will be, mitigated at that point. Basically.
All right, thank you very much for that. I think another question here is, since the files are not saved on-chain, that means we need oracles to connect to the file system. Do you get the question?
You said since, okay, you mean
the files? No, I mean, I'm reading the next question actually. I mean on IPFS actually. I think it's talking about the storage. Okay. It says since the files are not saved on-chain, that means we need oracles to connect to the files. I think that's what
yes, you do, because Oracle helps you to get off-chain data into your smart contract. So something like that.
All right, okay. Well, I feel it's actually that's what they do normally. I don't think it's your own thing to now be building Oracle to do that. I think it's embedded in what they're offering people in their services, I guess.
Necessarily you need to use.
Now, this person said, what? Okay, where exactly do pictures get stored?
They get stored in centralized. They get stored in centralized.
Okay, let me finish the question. Where exactly do pictures get stored when you say off-chain? Now, and what about the videos that are much heavier? I think this person missed what you said. So can you just go over the storage stuff again?
Okay.
I think there was a place you talked about, pictures, all these large files are getting stored in all these protocols, and just the hashes are the ones you can actually see. So it's actually a storage system, a decentralized storage system. So they store all these things in their own decentralized kind of storage system. Or okay. You can go ahead.
Okay. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, if you are saving a picture or a file, the file is not saved on-chain. It's not saved on the smart contract. Because do you know what it costs to actually save a picture on the smart contract? It costs a lot. Because literally, the picture or file has to be like broken down into a EVM understandable language. And literally, that would cost a lot of computational power. So in this case, your pictures are not necessarily saved on-chain. It is just the link to the picture that is saved on-chain. So whether you want to save a video or something, they are saved off-chain. When I mean off-chain, meaning in a centralized service. You get?
Okay, thank you for that. I think next question here is DAO fully decentralized? Yeah, okay, yes, it's fully decentralized. What happens when the big guys, when the big governance token make decision in their own favor? Now, they don't make decision in their own favor. It's just like there can actually be a conflict in the system and they will bring it out. See, okay, I think this issue of the kind of money you have will actually make you give you the voice. It's more or less like, guy, if you don't belong to Zuriball, if you're not on their Discord channel, you cannot do anything. You can't participate, you can't vote. Do you understand? If you don't belong to Zuriball, or if you don't belong to the block games, if you're not holding maybe a particular token called BLK, that's for block games, you cannot even vote. That means if they are making a decision, you actually see the number of votes, you see the number of person making decision. Now it's just like a snapshot saying, oh, Mr. Ifeanyi, as when he was making this votes, he had about 100,000 ENS in his account. And they might come back later and just tell you, oh, okay, the people that actually voted, we are going to incentivize them and do all of that. So if you're not holding what belongs to them, you can actually have a voice in their ecosystem. I think NL, do you want to add anything to that? Or go ahead.
Sorry, what was the question again?
The question is, what happens if the big guys in governance people make decisions in their own favor?
Okay, there is nothing like big guys in governance in DAO. What makes you a big guy is having a token. And it's not only you that we have token, because everybody has access to get token. So there's literally like big guys. Everybody is a big guy. What matters is exercising your authority, exercising the power that you have, which is the governance token that you have with you. So let's say you have a token and you want to use it to vote, and one, Agbalagba will come and say that move back. It's not possible. It will be transparent. It is trustless. Everybody is seeing it. You get.
Okay, and also I think, okay, this is not an NFT class actually. Or maybe how does the whitelist NFT works? Are these addresses embedded in the initial contract? No. Whitelisting is just like once you are hustling for you want to buy it at a cheaper price. So more or less like we're talking about IDOs, initial DEX offering, whereby you actually get the token for a particular amount for a cheap price before you get listed. That is what you are doing under the whitelisting NFTs. You are hustling to get into the whitelisting people so that you can actually mint. Because oftentimes it's very difficult to meet on the launch day, especially with our network in this side of the world. Now, how will a decentralized front end work? Can't wrap my mind around it. I think we'll drop a material on that on the resource channel. How the whole decentralized front end actually works. I think. Or you want to talk about anything there? I think we'll drop resource on it.
Okay, so there's also one thing I want to point out, right? Everything does not have to be decentralized. Take for example, there are some things that actually there are some things that dwell more. There are some things that flourish more. There are some projects that thrive more as a centralized service than as a decentralized service. So you have to weigh the option. Why am I using a decentralized service? Is it so I can, feel among and chill with the big boys? You have to think, this project that I'm doing, is it decentralized worthy? So everything is not about decentralization. Yeah, we get decentralization is nice, it's awesome. Of course, it gives us an edge. It's transparent, it's trustless, it's permissionless. It's a feel-good kind of technology. But again, everything does not have to be decentralized. There are some products, if you ask me, that thrive more, centralized. And of course, for anybody that might want to ask, what kind of product thrive most in as a centralized service? So you might want to, do further research. Thanks.
Is the power to vote proportional to the number of tokens you have? That's like the DAO.
Yes. Yes.
Protocol. So what's the relationship between the centralized nature of Web3 and virus or malware attack? Do we beat virus failure forever with Web3, or data stored on decentralized systems still stand at risk? I think this is NFT. Have you heard about? I think that was started in 2016. Now, and the first DAO that I got started then actually was hacked. So I think we will never stop. We never leave that era of being hacked. These are normal codes actually. And this app will actually drain the system, will drain the ecosystem, drain the fund or the treasury. So that's why we have other protocols that I think SETI, they do audits. So imagine if you have your codes and everything, you still have to go through audits for them to audit what you have so that you don't suffer all these attacks. I think a few days ago, and there are some things, that's why everybody said to really assist you and to get you going in this code. Now, there are some things you actually see, there's some line of code you can actually see in a particular protocol because it's actually open source. You can go to the GitHub repo and the rest of them. There are some things you see in the code that if you see those things, in fact, don't even try to connect your wallet. It will get drained. So when it comes to the virus thing, I think the virus thing has to do with your system, with your own computer system. But getting hacked, it's a normal thing, it will always still be happening, even though they are still trying to build various protocols and stop all this malware from happening in real life. Gospel truth is actually computer codes, so they are bound to happen. Now, what happens when the centralized service we post our picture or videos is down? Will our stored item be withheld from the blockchain? No. Are you there?
Will our what?
what happens when our centralized service we host our pictures or videos is down? Will our stored items be withheld from the blockchain?
Will they be dealt from the blockchain?
Withheld, like, will it be removed from the blockchain?
No, they won't. They won't. You still have access to it. Whether the centralized service is down from today to tomorrow, you still have access to your file.
Right. I think you can still go back to check when we talk about loads too. I think somebody asked me that question and said, when one node is down, does it mean everything is lost? And no. In as much as you have, it's actually chain of all these things. Hashes are always been chain and just like them. So it's still. So any other question, anyone? If I think we've can wrap up the session now. No questions again. Okay, now the last question. I think this is the last question we're taking. Is that for how long? Okay, for how long have you facilitators been in Web3 blockchain space? Would you share your experience on? I think now this question is not. I don't think how long really matters now, because you see this Web 3.0, this crypto thing. You can't be judging by the number of years, and it's actually something that is growing. See, within 6 months, you can be a pro. So if you're talking about these big grammars, all these big things, no. Within 2, 3, in fact, if you can start from what Zuri has been doing, by the time you're ending all these things and you're doing your assignment judiciously, bro, you're a pro. By that time, you're an OG. So just keep on learning, keep on. Under 1 month, 2 months, you can be a pro in anything. This era we are, in fact, 2 months is way too much for you not to just blow up in the space with what you're doing. So just keep your game up. And now everything is still prone to risk on DeFi. Okay. I think this person was talking about small pennies that drained the wallet. Smart contract was executed for that. Yes, smart contract was actually executed for that. But like what I said, there's some stuff. I think I shared the material this morning as relating to NFTs. There's some stuff you see in the code that lets you know that I won't connect. There was this particular protocol that actually robbed me too. It robbed my my wallet. I think this was on Solana. It robbed my Solana wallet. I wanted to mint an NFT and I was so excited. And everything got drained. And I think somebody actually got drained of like almost 700 Solana. So this is still the risk of, because when we talk of ICOs, people are scamming people. So in as much to reduce all of those things, now they are now scamming people by draining wallet and doing all those things. That's why you should be very, very careful. Thank you very much. I think we've come to the end of this session. No more questions from here. So can you just wrap up?
Yeah, okay. For that person that was asking about the facilitator's experience, I feel like maybe we could actually make a different live session for that. You get, I mean, because if everyone starts talking about their experiences and we are going to sleep here, I still want to do nice picture. All right. So thank you so much, guys. If you have further questions, kindly go into the general help channel, and if you have technical questions, go into the technical help channel. And of course, you could tag any of the mentors if you have a personal. When I mean personal, not personal, but you know what I'm saying. So that's it. So does Mario want to say something?
Yeah, no. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us. Just keep keeping on. We'll actually get everything done.
Bye.
Next time. Bye, everyone.